What advice do you have for people getting started? Do you have a favorite piece of equipment you'd recommend? Let me know in the comments below and help each other out. Now that you got your equipment ready to master your production skills, check out this course on YouTube Creator Academy. So you're ready to start making videos.
Well, you know, I see that it's a lot lighter than what it was before. But anyway, I'm going to try to get closer up and then maybe you can see me. Okay, that's a lot better. This is a call to action. And when we do a call to action, this is the professional development call to action. And I'd like to greet each and every one of you teachers. I'm calling you to a call to action for professional development. I have set up a website for the teachers. And first of all, I want you to come in and have a seat and welcome. Thank you for coming to Omi's Language Buddy School. And I am your buddy coach, and this is a call to action. And ladies and gentlemen, for the benefit of those teachers out there, I have created a website for you. And I hope you can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay? Let's see. All right. For the benefit of you, teachers out there, we are doing this particular professional development series on Thursdays whenever we can get around to it because we've been busy working with our language school and teaching our medical term. But I did want to start off by doing this whole segment for teachers. And this segment alone, it actually helps teachers with their curriculum, gives them a place where they can go and access material. We have not completely put the website up yet. It's almost done, but it is called PD2. It's called Proud to Be. I think it's Proud to Be. PD2. Proud to Be. PD2B. Proud to Be. Basically, proud to be an African-American teacher, because a lot of African-American teachers are leaving the profession and they are not coming back, and they are just, you know, changing their professions, going into something else. But I want to say for the record, I wish that most of you will stay and try to lend some of your services to do something in the profession. I know I am. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is curriculum. And the reason why I'm talking to you about curriculum, because it is my favorite topic to talk about. Curriculum with early childhood materials. That's what I want to talk to you about today. I have to stay true to my own and get involved in curriculum materials so I can make sure I stay up to date. I am retired now and out of the profession, but I do periodically like to do workshops and seminars and be keynote speakers and those kind of things. Hey, I see you admire my little antennas here. I can wear this kind of stuff now since I don't have to go into nobody's job. These are my little antennas I'm dreading, and my dreads are starting to curl upward, and it's a little different, but nevertheless, I don't have to pick up a comb, and that's all that it matters. I wrote a poem about my hair, and it's interesting because we always fiddle over our hair. We get so much stuff going on. We can't even get ourselves together because of that. Let me open up these chat rooms over here and see if we can get some people talking in there. Let's see, where is that? Okay. But for some reason, I'm not able to get it. Okay, here we go. Say hello. I don't know why this is not letting me. Okay, there we go. All this is brand new to me, people. I haven't been on YouTube doing a video in quite a while. I started out a long time ago just doing all kinds of videos and whatever I thought my mind would lead me to. I don't see anything going up there. Let's see. Okay, try this one more time. Okay, let's see if it's got me. Saying hello, family. Okay, there we go. But for some reason, it's just not letting me say the family. Let's see if it's going to let me do anything. Okay, there we go. Now, maybe we get somebody in here to chat with us. Once again, I would like to thank you so much. I am Omiinka, your buddy coach. This is the language school of Omiinkas. My language school has been out there for some time now, for about 5 years. It's on another channel. You can go and visit it. And we got all that information up and loaded and ready to go on English Language Learner. And then we decided to do a language class for medical terminology first. And we've already gotten well into 2 of our segments for medical terminology. So you can go out next Sunday or this Sunday and follow us, because we will be on TalkShoe as well as on these airways. Now, I just still don't know why I got all these vivid colors, but it's not giving me the light that I need. And believe you me, I'm so afraid to touch something that I may turn something off. And I don't have my help here that could tell me what to do. And I don't want to change anything. So just bear with me. Now, once again, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. And we're talking about curriculum for early childhood development, for early intervention curriculum. One of the things I think is necessary for candidates who are going to be working with early childhood is that they have a pretty good foundation on their language. Language is so important for preschoolers because they're just developing their language ability, and you have to catch things early with those preschoolers and kindergarten. Just in case they need to go to speech therapy, you need to assess them early on and get them ready to go into the speech therapist to have those pull-out sessions where they can get the help they need. Now, teachers, not that, you're not capable, it's just that you're teaching so many subjects, and a language teacher has to zone in on any speech impediment and catch it at the right time to help those children so that they are able to enunciate and pronounce their R's and pronounce their P's and their THs. Okay. And one of the things that I like to say is that there are a lot of students going into early childhood now, and they're starting right from high school. That's right. They can obtain the 120 clock hours of early childhood while in high school and have a PD specialist to come out, excuse me, and assess them while they're on the job and evaluate them while they're interacting with children. So those early childhood teachers can come out with a credential ready to go to work in the way of a CDA. And the council puts that out. It's a Child Development Associate degree. I do work for the council, have been doing work for them for over 15 years, possibly 20. There was a break in time there when I had to work on my master's. But what they asked us to do as a PD specialist to go out and mentor those early childhood teachers, go out and collect their data, their portfolios, and also collect their 13 competency statements and evaluate them while they are interacting with the child of their particular age bracket. And to do an assessment, it's a 3-hour assessment that has to be done. And upon them completing the 3-hour assessment, turning in their competencies as well as their portfolio, then at that point, they're given an oral exam, and that's a multiple choice exam to see how well they can comprehend. Then there is an essay exam. So judging from all these various different disciplines, this information is collected and is taken before a group of a board to look at all 5 areas that you're being assessed in. Excuse me. And at that point, we make a decision whether or not you have passed all 5 of these categories, and can we award the candidate a non-traditional certificate of completion to show that they have met the requirement as if they've gone through a 2-year associate program, and their life experience is also used for the number of hours. They also have to have 460 hours of contact hours of hands-on working with children. This is a fantastic program. I wish they could make it applicable to other programs because it's very workable. They allow you to do a writing sample of your 13 competencies. They allow you to put together a portfolio. You go out and visit facilities, collect data on those facilities, and in your community, get the names of all of the networking agencies that can support a family. I like to see co-parenting connected with that. And here's what I'm proposing. I work with a judge who worked with me in creating a co-parent curriculum for parents, not the parents that are mandated by the course to take these classes, but all parents, because I don't see forcing you to take these classes just because you've gone through a divorce. But what if you're in a marriage and never taught how to raise children? It certainly would be a good package for you to take in learning how to co-parent, because it teaches you how to parent individually and alone, opposed to parenting together. And therefore, it teaches you to work with that child independently without his mother or father. So what I'm saying is that this co-parenting program, I would love to have it attached to the early childhood program. It's another 90 hours, excuse me. And those additional 90 hours will allow you to learn things that you did not ordinarily know about rearing that child independently and being respectful of the other spouse, making sure you get on their calendar, making sure you coordinate the days that you're going to have the child. With so many mothers that are divorced these days, and some states approved it and mandated it, but then there might be some states that are not approved. So therefore, a lot of parents don't get a chance to go through co-parenting. The co-parenting aspect is an excellent program. I got licensed to become a co-parent to work with the court system, because you do get a chance to go in the courtroom with the parent. Upon this parent going through a divorce, you get to represent the parent in the courtroom. So I'm looking very seriously about adding that course where basically you buy the materials. It's an online course that you complete independently. And upon completing it, you take those designated curriculums and certificate to the judge, showing them that you completed the course, and then you're given credit for your 6 credit hours in co-parenting resolution. And you can go before the judge, and you can have issues that you want to clear up, but you have your co-parenter there with you to help aid you and assist you so you can properly know how to address the court. So what am I saying? I'm saying that early childhood is going to be a big area because most schools are going to adapt it, and they're going to have their students complete the CDA before they leave high school, and then they'll have credentials to walk right into a job right out of high school. Isn't that fantastic? Yes, it is. And it's something that we should think about because we need to have our children prepared when they come out of high school to do a job. It might not necessarily be what they want to do, but it's a job that will allow them to get employment and make some money. And if they should want to change their profession down the road, they can pick up another certificate program. Now, child development in curriculum and instruction. There's another area that is pretty much in demand in the state of Illinois. They're requiring most of the early childhood teachers to have English as a second language. Now, why English as a second language? Well, because English as a second language is becoming more in demand because you have so many refugees coming into this country, and a lot of them do not speak the King's language. So therefore, we have to bring in specialists like myself. I am an endorsed specialist in English as a second language. We teach them conversational English. We teach them how to enunciate. We also teach them how to socialize. A lot of it is socialization, what is common, what is appropriate for this particular climate and for this particular country, how to connect to their heritage, how to connect culturally to their routines and rituals, and help them to become accustomed to gradually getting out there into the forefront, but also sheltering them when they first come off the boat so they're protected and they're given the tools that they need to survive. And we gradually work them into the mainstream. Now, wouldn't that have been great if African-American children had a chance to do that? Everybody just assumed that all African-American children knew how to speak the King's language, but they didn't. So they start failing in school. And most of their low grades came from them having an inability to read or write or enunciate. So they've developed failing grades and ended up being retained in some instance, and a lot of them were failing primarily in reading, and they didn't get the help they needed by way of English as a second language. Now, that's what my job is to do, to talk to the principals about making sure they do a self-assessment and also observing the fact that they might have inappropriately placed a child in special education that should have been in English as a second language. Now, if that's the case, they're not getting any language didactics or any language tutorials at all. And they may have fallen 2 or 3 grade levels behind. So they must be properly assessed to see if they should have been placed in the English as a second language or English as a new language. And the reason why we're calling it English as a new language, it is not your regular English mechanics that you would think. However, we do address that. We look at homonyms, synonyms. We look at etymology, the study of words, and where does this root word come from. That's why it's appropriate for me to teach the medical terminology and the Latin sense, because we're looking at etymology. We're looking at words that are similes, words that sound the same, but have different meaning. And we are also looking at ending suffix sounds. We're looking at prefixes and idioms. We look at idioms to see what kind of idiom is this word saying 2 things with 2 different meanings. And we become wordologists, and we become very familiar with the dictionary and how to use the Black dictionary. The Law Library dictionary is one that the people are using. And then we look at the New International Dictionary, Webster Dictionary, and we try to go and get the definition of the root word. We focus a lot on the root words because once they know the root word, they can easily apply the suffixes and prefixes and have a definition of the meaning. So we become wordologists. So for those of you out there who did not hear, I am a curriculum specialist working with teachers to implement curriculum, working with districts to appropriately implement curriculums for African American children. No one has put any focus on the African American child. We just assume that all children learn the same way. But our children come to school with just as many words as the non-Melanite child. But it's been said that most African American children come to school with 5,000 less words than our Caucasian children who come from the suburb. But that's not true, because our African American children know words that no other race of people know. And most of our African American children are wordologists. They have words in their cupboard that they have retired because it's time now to add new words. Now, I've been trying to go back and look at some of the words that we were using frequently in the beatniks, in the area where we were pretty much using cool words, such as copacetic, cold stone. Now, what do you think cold stone mean? It means you're serious. And we use words like cold stone fact, that's a fact, Jack, stuff like that. And we now have to understand that our young people are cutting words down. They use fewer words than we ever did. They don't want to write everything out. They want to write shorthand. So now the state has mandated that it's not necessary to teach penmanship or handwriting for the kindergartners. Well, I beg the difference with them. And I guess they leave that as optional. I always teach kindergartners to those foundational students who are learning foundational English. They must learn penmanship, and they must learn how to do the Nillian, so they can transition over to cursive writing, because if they don't, they won't ever learn how to read cursive, and they'll have a dickens of a time trying to write it. Because you go from your Nillian over to your cursive handwriting because you're adding just the hook on it. You already know how to make the letter. So with us being so expedient and taking out things in the discipline of the curriculum, like handwriting, we might be mistaken down the road. I guess the principal figure is so many different disciplines you have to teach. And what would one less discipline do? It would give you more time to do testing. Now, that's another thing. Young children that are preschool and kindergarten are being tested more than they ever have in a lifetime. I can't believe how much assessment is going on. We got children under the table and children on your back while you're trying to assess them for an examination. And then you're trying to run the whole classroom with 26 kindergartners. And that can be very difficult, especially with preschoolers. You know, you got to keep their attention. You got to make sure they understand what you're saying. You got to repeat things. You got to revisit things. And you got to have them go to the board to enunciate. Go to the board and take dictations. Repeat after me. Say the word "buh." Now write the sound of "buh." And we don't just give the child the alphabet. The name of the letter is A and the sound is A. Please write the sound A. The name of the letter is B and the sound is buh. The name of the letter is C and the sound is cuh. We focus more on the sound. And then we can bridge together a consonant blend, such as bruh, fruh, the. And then we put the murmur diptothrons together and the pig-thins together, and we teach them how to do the slide rule so that they start enunciating those consonant blend. We tell them that Y is not just a fairy letter. So we don't say sometimes Y. Y is one of the vowels, so it's always used. Now, there used to be words that didn't have vowels. However, we are not teaching from the Egyptian standpoint. We're teaching them that every word has a vowel. And we used to teach when two vowels go out to play a game, the first one usually says his name. The second one knows he cannot speak. He usually goes to sleep. So teaching them a game from a riddle, and we teach a lot of riddles, at least I do. We ask them things so that they can be conscious and stay focused, and ask them to answer the riddle. And you give a child a riddle every morning to make them sharp. And you have him to handle chalk and go to the chalkboard frequently on a daily basis so you can see their work and see where they need the most help at. And once you exhaust them at the board, then you make sure you have a table with some old typewriters where they can go and take dictation. They take oral dictation at the board, and they take physical dictation at the typewriter. So now they're typing these words, and now they're hearing the sound, and they kinesthetically can feel it. Most African American children feel things first to see if they can comprehend it. And they are so much kinesthetic, sometimes they may want to roll around on the floor with the letter, take the letter, put it on their head, and get immersed in the letter because it's their melanin working. Wouldn't you know it? It's their melanin working. Their melanin is like a brain, and they can learn from the melanin. And the melanin actually does not have to bypass the brain. It goes straight to their senses in their little hand. The senses of melanin brain is right there, and they can take something, put it in the palm of their hand and roll it around a bit and then comprehend it because their bodies have melanin in the hot spots. And wherever the melanin is, they can comprehend through the melanin without even picking a book up. That's right. Because their melanin, when they immerse the book in their hand, hold it in their hand, put it up to their face, up to their eyes, their head, they are immersing themselves in that book, and they possibly can tell you what's in the content of the book by just flipping through some of the pages, looking at some of the paragraphs and sentences. Now, haven't you ever learned to skim through a book and then picking up the most major parts and then coming back and giving an overview of what the book is about? Well, our children do not learn in parts. African American children do not learn in parts. That is a Eurocentric teaching and technique. The Eurocentric children learn in parts. That's why you see them doing fractions in part. And when you see African American children doing math, they figure that thing out. They look at the whole picture and come up with the solution. And they may not have worked the problem out to show you how they derived at their answer, but they overall work it out in their mind. And then they look at the whole picture and give you a solution. And most teachers will say, no, I want you to show me your work. Show me how you got that. Break down the parts and show me. African American children learn in a whole. They see the whole picture. If they know they're going to get some marbles from going to the store with your $10 bill and the change will be theirs, they're going to figure out what the change is ahead of time so they can see the bigger picture. Because they're holistic learners. They're not your left and right brain learners like we thought. When we used to always go in and try to assess the child and say, oh, let me see if he's a kinesthetic learner. Is he a right brain learner? Is he a left brain learner? And we never focus in on the fact that that child by nature is a holistic learner. He learns communal. And communal children are in the mindset that they're cooperative learners. They're much more noisier, and they learn in a group, and they teach one another. All you need to do is teach one head captain in that group, and they will matriculate that information from one person to the next. And they don't believe in leaving anyone behind. So you could have asked the African American children a long time ago, what do you feel about leaving no child behind? They would have told you, well, if I can't go on, Johnny can't go on. And if Johnny can't go on, I can't go on. We go together. We go together. That's what my mama said. Y'all stick together. It's an African concept, and they know what they're doing. In my research, I researched babies and infants in Africa, and I studied Dr. Ames. And in her explicit research, she discovered that African American children were far more advanced than the Westerners. That African American babies at 3 or 4 months were able to turn their heads back and forth, and at 6 months they were able to sit up and to smile and to coo and be able to give eye contact and gestures. And then they were able to sit up much faster and began to not only sit up, but to walk at 8 months old. Most of our African American children can do these things because they have the same intestinal linings as African children have over in Africa. And unfortunately, we have dumbed down the curriculum for these kindergartners. We have slowed down the curriculum, so they have slowed down and they begin to regress. So we have got to speed up the curriculum for the kindergartner. We've got to give the kindergartner first grade material. You do not ever give a child on the same grade level the material. You give them one grade level higher, which will keep them perfecting. As Africans do, they're always perfecting. More better and more better, as Spike Lee would say. That is their concept, to be perfecting at all times. Now, for you teachers that are out there that are elementary teachers, I would suggest you think about getting an early childhood endorsement. There's so many things coming down the pipeline for early childhood children that you're going to find it fascinating, because most of your geniuses are in the preschool classes and early childhood classes. How do I know? Because I spent 5 years with preschoolers and kindergartners watching these little animated geniuses do things that second and third grade children could never do. They push themselves. They want to mimic reading. And if they are not reading, they will mimic it. And what happens if a child mimics you long enough? He's going to be speaking fluently like you do and knowing just when to put the commas and the periods and the pauses, because he has modeled you. And that's what a good teacher does. She asks the child to model her. And that's what preschoolers do ordinarily, and kindergartners too. You don't have to ask them to model you. They're watching everything you do and reciprocating your behaviors. Now, why are African American children different from most other children? Number one, because they're first world people, and their mothers and fathers lived, their ancestors lived in the bush, and they learned from the environment. Mother Nature has been a good teacher for most of the nurturers and teaching them what to do. But you cannot learn everything in the bush. You have to learn something from people and observing people. That's why I'm a children's watcher. I'm a child watcher. I watch children to see what their gestures are and their behaviors and their response to things. And I get a kick out of watching infants because they are the most interesting to me. They have a tendency to give you eye contact and to smile and respond when you speak to them. And we never talk to them in baby talk. We talk to them intelligently and we wait for a response. Well, didn't I tell you to turn over? Well, what are you waiting for? Turn over. And they're going to smile at you and look at you and shake their little head, and then they'll try to turn over. Turn over. You can give them a little push and turn them over. And then every day you talk to them and say, when are you going to turn over? Then they'll turn over real quick. And you must start even from infancy, when the child is in the womb, playing music for the child, speaking to the child. These children have been here before. This is not their first go around. And we must start treating children more intelligently so they can respond to that. As I said, you find some of the preschoolers able to enunciate and have reading readiness skills where they can begin to tackle reading head on. Most of your German children start school at age 3. So they're introduced to reading at an early age. We don't want to wait till they're 6 years old when the window is almost closed and say, Johnny, do you want to come over here and learn to read? Why, naturally, every child wants to learn to read. And that's why when people say, oh, he's lazy, he don't want to learn to read. When you teach the child, when their windows are open at the age of 3, they're wide awake and they're ready to enunciate and to blend and do the sounds ba, ka, fa, wa, da, ks. And they're ready to blend the words for encoding and decoding and bringing the prefix, root word, and the suffix together to make a word. And then don't go asking them, Johnny, say the ABCs. Say the ABCs, Johnny. A, B, C. No, Johnny. Say the sounds, Johnny. Ba, ka, fa, wa, da. Have them to do the sounds because they need the sounds in order to make a word. Now, are you still out there? This is a call to action. And in presenting a call to action for those teachers that need professional development, we're coming up on another year, so a number of us are going to have to be refreshing our continuing education classes in order to keep those licenses renewed. Keep your license renewed. Don't let them lapse. Hold on to them. It took you so long to get that endorsement and that license, so you don't want to hand over by letting it lapse. It's very vital that we should talk to other teachers about becoming teachers, especially males. And there are alternative programs out there. They're wrestling with getting people into education who may be leaving another profession and coming into teaching. There's a lot of things that we must do to make teaching more inviting. You must beef up that benefit package. And as a professional development, I will speak to all administrative districts and say, look, you've got to make your benefit package more inviting. You've got to have passes on there. Maybe a pass to go to Disney World. You got to have things on there such as membership into a credit card service where you get cash back. You got to have benefits on there where the teacher can get sabbatical and she can take a week off to go and visit any institution or any school of learning she wants to, or go to a spa, because we need that time out, and we need that time where we can regroup and get our mental state together, because teaching can be so overwhelmed. You can mentally tired before you're physically tired, and your body may need an overhaul of a spa. We need to have our benefits so well put together that we pay for the short-term disability for that first year teacher. And they pay, as long as they pay for the long-term disability, then you got something you're offering them. And then look at not only your short-term and long-term disability, look at making sure that they become a member of AARP, and you can pay for that. There's tons of things you can give teachers with incentives, because teachers need these incentives, because we go online and there's all these ton of things that are free for teachers. Give them a they can go to where everything is free. Give them a website where they can go and sell their own lesson plans. And as they sell their own lesson plan, they can make a small fee off that. Sometimes these salaries are not big enough for the teachers. At least when I started, it was only $8,000. Now you tell me, back 30-some years ago, what could I do with $8,000? but just go out to shop with it and get angry. Now, teachers are not making that kind of money anymore. They're making well over $30,000. And I know they can live off that, but it would be much better if they could get bonuses, if they can be selected for Teacher of the Month, and maybe that month they can get a bonus. We do all these things to beef up learning for children. Why not let's beef up some things for teachers? I am an advocate for teachers, and I am a professional development, and I create the courses for the teachers to continue their education so that they can stay in the game and meet the requirement of the state. So as an advocate and a professional development specialist, I'm asking that you bring me in, talk to me about some things you can put in HR benefit package to beef up your marketability for recruiting teachers, because teachers can pick and choose which school they want to go to. Create a 4-day work week. Take some of that money and bring in a sub on that Friday, or if they want to take that Monday. But give those teachers the option to take sabbatical. The more sabbatical they take, the better they are when they come back and they try to teach a unit. If they're tired, burnt out, then it's going to reflect in how they teach in the classroom. Now, you've been listening to OMI's Language Buddy School, and I am your Language Buddy coach. And this is a call to action for those teachers who need to continue their continuing education. Thank you so much for listening to me. You've been a joy to work with this evening, and I want to say, oh, double and baba booey to you, y'all. Have a great one, and I will see you on Sunday.